the best thing you can do is leave a comment, because you are doing exactly what LinkedIn wants, which is adding to the conversation. LinkedIn doesn't want you to doom scroll. LinkedIn wants you to engage with other professionals in conversations that are beneficial to both of you. You also have to pass it through my compliance, and here's what my compliance looks like.
Hello, everybody. This is Christopher and Catherine Tipper, your favorite 401 couple. Yes, I have to look at my notes to see what my last name is. And today we are finally joined by Leah Bliss. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. We first met in the oven of Palm Springs in August of last year at the very first, yes, I'm still wearing my sway bracelets.
Pro tip, don't go in August.
Yes, don't go there in August. No, Milwaukee better be better. Okay, so we met Leah for the first time in August last year, and then also she we see you in warm places. Then we saw you in Scottsdale at NIPA BMC in January of 2025. And I'm going to, so Leah is, and I love how she's changed, because this is the new description, right, Leah? It seems different than before. Leah is a digital visibility strategist, LinkedIn keynote speaker, and sales and marketing transformer at her own business, Bliss Magic. And I am going to leave the rest of Leah's introduction up to her.
Let her discuss the magic.
Well, I'll let her discuss it. So you've just rebranded, right?
Okay, so I didn't tell you guys this because it was a surprise. The website went live today.
Oh
my goodness. Okay.
And the website is?
theblissmagic.com.
Okay, very good.
Very cool.
And
well, I mean, when your last name is Bliss, the branding is built in. Like, I have no choice.
We were talking about your nails before, so the Bliss is the real last name, right?
Is my real last name. You know, you're not the first person to ask me that. Is that your real name?
Because we started it.
Your adult performer name? It's
Well, okay.
Okay, but at what age did you realize your last name was an asset?
So my father is a career CMO. And so I realized it from birth because I was told every day of my life.
Oh, okay, well done.
Okay, very good. All right. Now then, every episode, we ask our guest, because we try to be good hosts, to pick their special treat. And Leah picked champagne. So why is this lovely stuff? What's the purpose? Oh, sorry, sweetie. Okay. So why is this your favorite drink, Leah?
So there's two reasons. One of my favorite brands in the entire world is called The Skim. Google it. One of the activities that they do as a part of their leadership team is that they write a goal on a champagne bottle. And when they achieve that goal, they drink that champagne, and then they have a wall dedicated to the empty champagne bottles to show all the benchmarks in their business. And I was like, this is genius. We're not celebrating enough. Then I was on a date and I ordered champagne, and the guy was like, what are we celebrating? And I was like, it's Tuesday. Like, we need to celebrate more.
We're vertical and breathing.
Yes.
Did you write his name on the bottle, or did you not?
No.
Because if it wasn't,
or is it on a milk carton he's missing?
I was going to say, if he didn't understand it was celebrating, then his name didn't go on the bottle.
He might have put my face on a milk carton because I ghosted him, but what do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? Okay. That's okay. So that's
why Christopher comes to podcasts.
I come to I learn more than our viewers and watchers and listeners and all that stuff. This is fantastic. I love that idea. We are going to have to come up with something. It doesn't have to be too special, but it has to be specific. We are going to be doing that. That is definitely going to be flattery. We're
shopping this afternoon.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. So now then, other than we're going to try a new segment in our podcast. It's not a complete surprise if you've checked email today. Okay.
I mean,
we are going to have 401 Couples' very first brand new lightning round. I'm looking forward to keeping this up. Okay. So yes, we will discuss things at length later on, as long as we have recording space. So now then, question number 1. In regards to posting, quantity or quality? We're talking about LinkedIn here, Leah.
We're talking about LinkedIn only. Quality always over quantity.
Is there a really quick why?
Because of the algorithm, and if you post too often, your stuff won't get seen. Influencers will tell you to post every day. Me, as an expert, not an influencer, will tell you to post once a week.
Do you become an influencer though? Videos or photos?
Photos, never videos.
Okay. And I think if I think I know the answer to this one. If you could only comment or only post, which would you do?
Comment, always.
I got that one right.
Commenting is the single most impactful thing you can do on LinkedIn.
Okay. What's a better metric for success? Impressions or comments?
Neither.
I love it.
Neither. The answer is profile views.
Oh, okay. And then I'm going to add one on here that I've not discussed with anybody, but I think it's a super easy one. Okay. Should you try, and I'm phrasing this badly, so you're going to have to help me with the phrasing. Should you trust somebody who does not have a customized LinkedIn profile link?
Yes, you can trust them. I have one. I know a lot of people that have them. If you don't have one, maybe you just don't know that you can have one. So it might be more out of ignorance than it is a decision.
Yeah, trust maybe isn't the right word, but I'm thinking that's somebody who's not very LinkedIn. It probably gives an idea of their LinkedIn awareness.
Yes.
Is that
yes.
a good thing? Okay. Now that this is a long answer form is allowed on the lightning round.
Okay.
What's your favorite place to travel to?
I have no idea. I saw that question on there and I have no idea. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I'm going to Nashville in 2 weeks and I'm like really excited about that because last time I was there, it was for a divorce party and I have very foggy memories. So I'm excited to like go and experience.
Okay. We've talked about Europe.
Foggy,
Oh, foggy. Oh,
foggy memories. I don't remember much about the divorce party in Nashville because we were
okay.
not all there. I did go to school in Europe, in London, so that was very delightful. Haven't gone back since though, so it's been some years. One of my favorite places to go is Greenville, South Carolina.
Wow.
Of
Where's
all
that?
the places in the whole world. I went to kindergarten there, and I don't know why I have such like fond memories. And whenever I go, because I live in Utah and it's not green, I go there and I'm like, literally Greenville. This place, wow, plants everywhere.
Do you like go get ice cream and stuff like that? Or are there like childhood foods you go and get? Or is it?
No, not necessarily. It's more like when I was
Hey,
there
Mom, the lady's in the sandbox again. Get her out. No.
She's playing in the dirt.
Okay.
And I have a friend that lives there, and last time we went and did like a karaoke night and just kind of hung out downtown, and it was great. It was very fun.
Only positive memories. Very cool.
Only positive memories.
All right, because I know this is a very, very important topic, and this seems to be very key. For me, this is key and central to everything that you talk about with LinkedIn. When is a good time to repost, with comments or without?
Okay, so let's dive into what that means. So let's deconstruct that question first, because there's several elements here. So when is the best time to post, period? I want to answer that question. And then reposting, do I just repost or repost with my own thoughts? That's another really separate concept. So the question of when is the best time to post really comes from other social media platforms. We think about Facebook or TikTok or whatever the other ones are, and we think, oh, when can I post so that more people will see my content? That is so fundamentally different than how LinkedIn operates. When you post on LinkedIn, it will only ever go to 10% of your connections organically. So the real question to ask yourself is, when is the best time to post that other people are most likely to comment on my post? Because commenting drives views and impressions. So to answer that question, if you want to think about the best time for people to comment, it's generally early in the morning when a lot of people would be what's what I'm looking for? Commuting. When people would be commuting,
Okay.
but they're not because they work from home. And so they're in that like 8 to 10 a.m. like, am I really in it yet? I'm kind of on LinkedIn, and they're more likely to comment.
Okay.
And Sunday afternoons and evenings because of the Sunday scaries. The Sunday scaries is that time on Sunday when you're like, oh shit, I got to start thinking about work on Monday. And you pull up LinkedIn on a Sunday afternoon because you're like, I got to get into work brain. You get on LinkedIn and you comment. So the best times to post are Tuesdays and Thursday mornings, and in the afternoon post lunch coma slump, when people are most likely on LinkedIn. They're not actually working, but they want to look like they're working, so they pull up LinkedIn, and Sunday afternoons.
I never thought Sunday
You know
afternoon
what?
would be a LinkedIn time. That's kind of, wow, that blows my mind.
Okay, so now I need to add a question onto that. All right.
Okay.
Because I learned about something for the first time yesterday at Sway. We had a little Sway afternoon conferencey thingy,
Mm-hmm.
and they talked about LinkedIn newsletters being something that's very specifically separate. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Is everything for a LinkedIn newsletter the same as a post? So you should need to be doing it then? Is it all the same algorithm or different?
No, it's 100% different.
Okay.
LinkedIn newsletters are essentially what LinkedIn used as their blogging platform for a long time.
Okay.
When you make a newsletter, when you create an article, is what they're called, it is promoted 0% in the feed. 0%. Now, it does go to the inbox of the email address of the people that have signed up for your newsletter, but you have to make a post to post on the feed to tell people that you've made an article or a newsletter and that they should go read it. Now, if you include a link to your LinkedIn newsletter, LinkedIn sees that as an external link and will cut your reach by 50%. Newsletters are complicated.
So Sherry was talking about this thing being the best thing since sun and sliced bread all combined and making it sound super easy.
It goes to the email inbox of the people that follow you, which is
The people
awesome.
that follow you. Okay.
Yep. So
Okay.
so you guys have a newsletter, I subscribe to your newsletter. When you put out your newsletter on LinkedIn, it comes to my inbox. But that's only if I've already subscribed. I
Okay.
won't see it in the feed at all. But there's two things here. So on the con side, the bad side is that LinkedIn doesn't promote it. You have to make a post about it, and you do not own that email list. You cannot export the email list of the people on your newsletter on LinkedIn. On the bonus side, it is the highest number, it is the highest element of LinkedIn that Google uses for SEO. If you Google something, very often a LinkedIn article shows up on the first page. And so if you can stack your SEO keywords into your articles, you're more likely to be found on Google, but it is very, very low likelihood that you'll be found on LinkedIn.
Well, that's crazy.
Oh God, I just got tired.
That's,
Okay, so this
That's
is
why I have a job, because
no,
I
I
know
understand.
all this stuff.
Yeah, I thought I'm like, oh, Leah's not going to teach me much new today. Yeah, I'm already having a stroke and we're early in.
Well, time out. We forgot one other key element in your first question.
Okay.
Because you asked, what's the best time to repost with comments or not comments? So what's the best time to post? We covered. Reposting, because when you click repost, you either have the option to like share immediately with my network or add your own thoughts. If you share immediately to your own network, it does not count as a post from you, and it will be shared to a whopping grand total number 1% of the people you're connected to. 1%. Contrarily, if you repost and add your own thoughts, and we've seen those where it's like you have your ideas and then there's the post that you're reposting, that counts as your post for the day or the week or whatever. It counts as a post. And that goes to 5% of your followers.
That's worse.
That's worse.
Okay, but posting is good for the original poster. If is it, am I not correct? So if you post something and then I repost it, okay,
Yeah,
that's good.
posting
It's
is
better
the
for you
best.
than it is for me.
So if you were to make a post about this podcast and I were to simply click the repost button to share instantly with my network, you would get roughly 6 points of value added to your post.
Right.
But only 1% of my audience would see it. But because I'm self-serving and I want my audience to see that I was on this podcast, that doesn't do me any good. So what I should do instead of reposting is leave a comment, because comments, the comment that you leave and the post that you leave it on, are then shared to 30% of your followers.
Because I knew the like button was a waste of time, but made you
Waste of
feel
time.
good.
So
Okay. So
Waste of
reposting is almost the same.
Reposting is the worst thing that you can do on LinkedIn. And here's why.
I misunderstood. I was trying to do more of that. Okay.
Nope, stop reposting. It's the worst thing you could do. Here's why. Let's say that you work for a large corporation. I work with a lot of very big tech, financial industry, lots of different big companies. Let's say you work at Apple, and Apple puts out a post about an announcement that they want to be shared with as many people as possible. They post it on their company page, and then they ask all of their employees to reshare it. If I follow 3 or more people from Apple, all of a sudden my feed is full of unnecessarily duplicated content that doesn't drive value to me as the user experience. And so LinkedIn runs a dedupe algorithm in the background to make sure that a single individual is not seeing the same post over and over and over and over again. So the best thing you can do is leave a comment, because you are doing exactly what LinkedIn wants, which is adding to the conversation.
Okay. All right. Gonna
better
change.
for you if we called it comment in or
Yes,
something.
yes.
It needs to be
And
called.
and I don't know when I say this,
Uh-huh.
but the reply you made to me about one of my comments when you said I was profound, my feet didn't touch the ground for 48 hours. That was wonderful, Leah. Thank you.
You're
I mean,
welcome.
and I am going to say I think that was actually also my most thoughtful comment I've ever made on LinkedIn ever, and it all
Yes.
came out at the moment. I'd never thought about it. I never put those two things together. But when you said I was profound, I was wandering around the office telling everybody, "Leah, this thinks I'm profound." Neener, neener, neener. Okay,
It,
so I
it brings up an excellent point, though, that you can't just say great post, thanks for sharing, and expect people to glean value from it.
yeah, well, I think we're going to get into that in a minute. But I just realized something. We've done what we normally do. We've started in the middle.
We did start in the middle.
We did start in the middle because it's not one of the questions that I've seen. No, not on the written page, dear. What is the real purpose of LinkedIn? And I don't, is that one of your questions, dear?
No, not yet.
I don't think so. Because I think you talked about this a little bit more at BMC
Mhm.
than you did at Sway about maybe not what the real purpose is of LinkedIn, but what it's turned into and why it is.
Yes.
Should we talk about that for a minute?
You guys ever watch those movies where it's like espionage or like corporate corruption, and they're always like, follow the money, that'll lead you to the bad guys?
Yes.
Okay. That conceptually is how we have to think about social media. Where does the money come from, and thus what drives anything that the companies are trying to do?
And does
Because
everybody know who owns LinkedIn?
no, nobody knows who owns LinkedIn. Nobody knows who owns anything. So, but if we follow the money and we look at Instagram as an example, Instagram makes a majority of their revenue through advertising. I love the saying, if it's free, you're the product.
Yep.
So Instagram makes money when its creators can get you doom scrolling on the toilet for 4 straight hours because they can show you more ads. LinkedIn only makes 20% of their revenue from advertising. 80% of their revenue comes from subscription model. People that pay for premium. I have clients that pay over $1 million a year to get their sales teams on the Sales Navigator app. Yes. And so in order to stay valuable to my clients, for them to pay millions of dollars to access this platform, they have to protect the user experience. People always come to me and are like, LinkedIn's going to be the new Facebook. It never will, because LinkedIn will always protect the user experience. So LinkedIn's purpose, their mission statement, comes down to the fact that they are trying to drive professional conversation amongst business professionals that leads towards revenue. LinkedIn wants you to make money on their platform. But if you operate on LinkedIn like you operate on Facebook or, God forbid, Instagram, you are going to be, there's no success to be found. None at all.
So your premium, I ended up not being premium yet.
Sold a credit card.
Well, okay, fine. Because Leah kept saying I can be free. All right.
You can.
Yeah.
You can.
All right. But am I still the product then?
So you are, it's like when your kids move out of the house and they still access your Netflix account and don't pay for it.
No idea what that's like.
No idea what that's like.
Never heard of that. Mm-mm.
I do have my own Netflix account.
Ooh, you are an adult.
I'm a whole girl.
Wow. Okay, but are you on your dad's Starbucks account still?
No.
Okay. Wow, you will.
I even have my own phone plan. I'm a real adult.
Wow.
Wow. That's
holy moly.
We all
Okay.
aspire to that
Yeah,
someday,
okay.
right?
Yes. My parents are very proud. But those people who are not paying for the experience are reaping the benefit of everybody else paying for the experience. So you don't have to pay for LinkedIn. It's still going to protect your experience. LinkedIn doesn't want you to doom scroll. LinkedIn wants you to engage with other professionals in conversations that are beneficial to both of you. And so if you're doom scrolling, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
Interesting.
LinkedIn made a change when you post. Oh, this is what we're talking about. Brand new
Brand new stuff. Yes.
Breaking news. When you post a video, the text is hidden away. What do you think about this change, and what do you think the impact of it will be? And maybe to add on to that, why?
So LinkedIn rolled out videos. Essentially, it's the LinkedIn version of YouTube Shorts as an option on the platform. LinkedIn will roll out brand new features about every 2 years and test how good they work by superficially inflating their reach initially. If you remember back when polls came out and everyone and their dog made a poll on LinkedIn and they were stupid. We don't see polls that much anymore. It's not because people aren't doing them. It's because they're not being artificially inflated. Same thing with video. Video got rolled out and there was a whole bunch of mess around it. LinkedIn, in the last even 3 months, we've seen up to a 300% decrease in video reach. And so whether your text is there or not, the purpose of me being on LinkedIn is not to watch videos. I also have never once in my life commented on someone's video. And so whether the text is there or not is fairly inconsequential. I think video is great for brand building, and I think it's something that everyone should have if their business is dependent on their personal brand. I should probably do more videos on LinkedIn. But it definitely should not be your most used media format.
To get super concrete, so we're doing a video right now.
Yeah.
So what you would do is take a still of this and then talk about it and then have people go look for the video somewhere else if that's what they desired, but not show a link?
Yes. So I actually work with a client who runs several podcasts, and I help ghostwrite a lot of her content. What we do is we alternate. It's usually stills, and then about every fourth or fifth post, we'll do a snippet from the podcast, and it's less than 10 seconds.
Okay.
I will write an entire 200-word post talking about, in this episode of the podcast, here was our guest. This is what we talked about. Here were the key takeaways. Here's the value. Here's everything that's super important. Put the clip of the video in and post it. Then I immediately edit the post, and at the bottom add, check out the full podcast and add the link. If you edit the post to add the link after it's gone live, you circumnavigate the algorithmic demotion, and you can put anything you want on there.
Are they ever going to catch on?
They don't care.
They don't care. Okay.
They don't care. They know. They don't care.
Okay.
They're cashing their checks. They're fine.
Well, yeah. Okay, fine. All right.
What I loved the first time I heard you was talking about putting like your own little personal emoji in front of a name.
We're going
right?
to talk about that first.
Oh, well, I love this. It makes me actually happier in LinkedIn if you want to know that. So I always see your little moon. He has a rhino. I have a tiger. So we have this like wild animal thing going. And then now, anytime that I see one, I go, I wonder if they know Leah or not. I'm actually thinking about this more because I see it. But it's funny that it makes LinkedIn more fun for me. It seems a little bit less just like straight up work. And I like that. Yes. So I'm glad you recommend to do it. I have no idea what other influencers actually say about that or not.
So there's actually a reason beyond the branding. There's a technology reason. Because mine is, so I have a little moon tattoo here on my wrist. So it's in my branding, right? I've got my little moon. If someone employs a bot or some sort of AI service that scrapes my information, sends me a connection request or sends me a message, it will say, hey, Moon Leah, looking to connect. I see we have a lot of people in common, blah, 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 whatever the bot says. I can very quickly identify who scraped my name versus who sent me a message. And so just delete, get rid of all the scammers, get rid of all the bots. So it does make it fun. I also see people that I'm like, oh, they got their little emoji in front of their name. They're in my little cult. Yay.
It's like tagging us all in your, it is tagging us.
I know, Leah, you don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So my question, the first one though, is how does posting on LinkedIn differ from posting on YouTube or Facebook for a business owner, specifically for a business owner?
So it depends on your audience. If you are a B2B business, 100% of your audience is on LinkedIn. And that is not true for YouTube and Facebook. Okay. Nor is it as appropriate for you to interact with your B2B clients on those platforms. Now, YouTube for branding, love it. Love it. My Instagram, poppin'. I'm Instagram all day long. But it's not to get clients, right? A corporate executive is not going to see my Instagram and be like, I'm gonna hire her. That's not where my audience exists. And so everybody that you want to sell to in a B2B business space is on LinkedIn. Whether they're active or not, I cannot say. And if someone actively decides to not have a LinkedIn account as a professional in a relatively corporate space, I think that speaks more volumes than having a bad one. Because you're telling me that you're a 21st century executive and you can't even master the basic 21st century tools? I don't know that I want to work with you.
No, there is. I actually, don't expect them to know how to answer the email.
Well,
right?
Because
don't give them a portal to put their data in.
Oh,
right?
God.
Yeah.
No,
I'm just waiting to see if I can get.
Yeah. Okay. So our former part-time IT person Used to work for Motorola, used to work for Microsoft, used to work for Cray Computers. Okay.
Mhm.
You're doing quality control for Cray. You've got some concept of
Oh,
how program. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
you must.
Yeah. He told, so I got signed up for LinkedIn. I didn't, he said, you're doing this. I'm like, okay. So I signed up. So I am curious as to how long I've been on LinkedIn. All right. But it didn't know what it was. Then I had to start explaining it to other people. And then for a while there, it was kind of just like the equivalent of being in the yellow pages. All right.
Mhm.
It was a basic filter of business competence.
Yes, a
Right.
digital Rolodex.
Yes. Okay. But now, and I don't know, I think it's before COVID, but it has become definitely exponentially much more than just I have some concept of digitalness. Yeah. So
Yes, yes.
next, Mrs. Tipper.
So, to what extent you personally are focused on general engagement versus converting engagements into sales? For you, is this mainly marketing on LinkedIn or is it sales? Like, what's the percentage? What's your point of view?
For my business, or like what people should do in their business?
Okay. Both.
Both. You first and then us in general.
So for my business specifically, it is a 50-50 split,
Okay.
because I believe fundamentally that people do business with people they know, like, and trust. I need you to know who I am, and I need you to like me. I need to provide value with some regular consistency that you can depend on me to be valuable. And through that consistency, I want to build trust with you. And so I make posts, and when I work with one-on-one clients and help them with their brand strategy, I talk a lot about, don't sell anything on LinkedIn, but just talk about what you're doing with your clients. I regularly post, spoke at this event, spoke at this event. Hey, as I was recently doing this LinkedIn training with the sales team, because people infer that's what I do. But I don't need to come right out and be like, if you would like to hire me as your keynote speaker for your next association conference, click the link in my bio. Like, that's not helpful. That's not valuable. You're not building trust. So I market through value, and then I sell through trust. Somebody write that down, because that's genius.
Market through value, sell through trust. All right.
The very specific cadence that I use for outbound sales. I actually have a client that I'm working with right now. We have a 30% response rate to outbound messages for booked calls, not just responding positively, but booking calls with her. This is how we do it. You make a list of all your prospects, and then you do not send them a connection request. For the love, do not send them a connection request. Go and comment on their posts. Leave 2 or 3 comments over the course of 2 or 3 weeks. Then, let's say that, Catherine, you're my prospect.
You've made cyber stalking legitimate, is what you're doing here.
I have operationalized cyber stalking as a sales strategy.
I forgot about this bit. I love this. Sorry. Keep going.
Great. So Catherine's my prospect, and Catherine makes several posts, and I leave very heartfelt comments. Catherine, I love what you had to say about the impact of this on the industry. As a small business owner, this is something I've really noticed, and I think this is valuable information. Bleh. Then I send a connection request after a couple of weeks. Catherine, I've really enjoyed the content that you've been putting out, especially your podcast, The 401 Couple, is hilarious. I'd love to add you to my network. There's no way that you're going to be like, she seems fishy. No, you're going to be so flattered. So you accept my connection request. When someone accepts your connection request, they are 100% guaranteed to see all of the content you put out for the next 2 weeks. So now I know that Catherine's going to see all my posts. And if I know what I want to pitch her, I'm going to make sure I make a post about it. Then I'm going to comment on more of her posts. I'm going to keep showing up, keep building that relationship. Then, because we're connected, I can send her a DM. Catherine, I've really appreciated the content you've been putting out. Your podcast is exceptional, and especially this episode really spoke to me about this, that, or the other. I noticed that you post very frequently on LinkedIn. I specialize in LinkedIn engagements, and I would love to have a chat with you just about what it would look like for you to get even greater reach, because I think your message is so important. Would you be open to some kind of conversation around that? She's so flattered because it's been weeks that I have been showing up.
Right.
She's like, yes.
Writing validation. Yes.
I would love to. Let's chat. Then I give all of my information away for free. People get on a call with me and I tell them exactly what they should do with their LinkedIn profile, exactly how to format their content, exactly how to go after prospects. And then I would say at least 30% of the time, if not half the time, they go, so how do I work with you?
Do they do it right away, or do they try and get frustrated and then call you?
Nope. On the call.
Okay.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and that is something that you think can happen in almost any B2B consulting industry?
Yes. Yes, especially if you are a service-based industry, because you pay attention, you build a relationship. You would never go into a networking event and shove your business card in someone's face, give your 30-second elevator pitch, and walk off.
Really?
I've had it happen. It happened to me at the San Diego Small Business
Expo. Supposed to be doing that?
Do you know who is the worst? The group of individuals that do this the most, that I think I need to find a way to go shake them. Accountants do this the most. Stop. If you're an accountant, stop doing this. Call me, go to my website, book a consultation. It's free. Stop handing out your business card in person. We don't do this naturally in person, and people who work in sales never would do this. We have that je ne sais quoi. We know that we need to walk up to somebody, find a piece of common information. You're in Palm Springs at some sort of mixer, and you hear someone talking about F1 racing. You know a little bit about F1 racing. And so you walk up to them and you start talking to them about F1 racing. And then all of a sudden you end up on their podcast.
So I've heard. Thank you for canceling the temporary restraining order, Leah. Yeah. Okay.
We just need to figure out how to do this on LinkedIn. It's the same skill set.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you're an open book.
Okay.
But it's the same skill set, because it's so easy to talk to people in person about things that are not work related, even if it's a work function.
Yes.
And we don't do that on LinkedIn. We have to just be real people. And
so
people
is
struggle with that.
This why Zach keeps telling us to post more of our travel stuff?
Yes. You have to humanize yourselves. Why would someone want to work with you outside of the 100 quadrillion other options that they have available to them? They have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you.
Okay. Kathy.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
We should just let her put it down.
I know. Are we doing a mic drop now, or can we keep going, Leah? Because I'm really looking. Okay, keep going, Catherine.
I got time.
So I'm kind of reforming this question in the sense, like you said, LinkedIn does kind of big changes every 2 years. Did LinkedIn really do a lot of changing based on COVID? Everybody was home and now looking at LinkedIn more or less? Or
She didn't see my post.
So it's a good question. How did COVID impact LinkedIn? So before COVID, I got started with the LinkedIn algorithm because of COVID.
That sounds crazy, but what, you were doing in-person sales before and then this turned you
No, my villain origin story is wild.
Did you just say villain origin story?
Yes.
Okay.
How I came to be this version of myself.
That's okay. Just a second. That's better than an elevator speech. A villain,
origin story. Okay.
I just want to highlight that. Okay, because I'm sick of people trying to tell me to do a good elevator speech, because no matter what I say, TPA, it sounds bad, right? But a villain origin story, I think you could do a seminar on that. But keep going.
Keep going.
Okay.
So I always say that good stories happen to people who are good at telling stories. And that's all it comes down to. How good are you at telling the story? My story is that my career path is more like a scatter plot than it is a path. And during COVID, I was managing retail stores. I was a professional personal shopper for many years.
Okay.
You would never know. You would never know. I did grow up with, like I said, my dad's a career CMO. And so I was a booth babe at conferences scanning badges since I was 15. So I've had experience in the corporate world from that, but I worked in retail. I was a bartender. Like I was working hot girl jobs. I wasn't working corporate girl jobs. So during COVID, surprise, the mall closed. I was out of a job. And I had hired a business coach, like a career mentor, for an exorbitant amount of money the several months leading up to COVID. And so I was like, all right, well, I guess this is my chance, because now I have all the time in the world to build this business. And I started posting on Instagram and YouTube and TikTok every single day, giving just like work from home advice and mindset and just trying to give people something. My father has a very interesting career path as well, and was a social media guru for several very large technology companies in Silicon Valley, where he lives. And during COVID, dozens of these Fortune 500 companies were coming to him and saying, we have buckets of money because we can't do conferences. We can't do travel. We can't do anything. We need someone to teach us how to use LinkedIn to do sales, because we are screwed. Okay. And my dad said, so he called me up one day because he was talking to his wife, my stepmom, and said, God, I'm so busy. I wish I could clone myself. And she's like, you did. It's your oldest daughter. So he calls me up out of the blue and was like, hey, I need someone who can understand complex algorithmic data and has stage presence to the degree that I'm comfortable with training. And I was like, okay, great. And it was like we were printing money. It was crazy, because all of a sudden, every single technology company he even knew somebody at was being referred to us to do these sales trainings. I have spoken to and trained teams on every single continent on this planet, because everybody needed help except Antarctica.
I wasn't going to be a compliance geek, but I'm waiting for it. Yeah, okay, fine.
My bucket list. But then it got to this point where, so I'm doing 3 or 4 90-minute presentations a day.
Whoa.
Yes. And then afterwards, my father, who is a world-class keynote speaker, would drill me down on everything I did wrong. So I went a year with love, with love, but a year of essentially thrown into the fire. Here's how it works. Here's how you do it. Here's how you present. And then after several years of working with my dad, I ended up contracting with another company, teaching professional motivational speakers how to run business operations through a CRM tool. On the same day, last January, a year ago, January, my boss at this company for the motivational speakers and my father called me on the same day and said, we're downsizing the company. Thank you so much. You're fired.
Your dad fired you? Oh my God. It's Succession and Yellowstone all in one. Okay.
All in one. It was more of a, hey, I think that you've tapped out on your ability to learn from me. I think you're actually better at this than I am. So you should go do your own thing now.
That's kind of a compliment with a push, right?
It's right. Get out of the nest. It was with love. We have a great relationship. I love my father, but
Sorry.
that's a long story to answer the question that yes,
This is
LinkedIn.
I don't know if this is a villain story. It's a villain saga. And that's quite okay with me. That's okay with me.
A saga. So to answer your question, before COVID, LinkedIn was seen as a place where you upload your resume, you update it as necessary, but it really was a job search functionality. After COVID, people realized that it was a never-ending networking event that they didn't have to leave their house to attend. And the way people showed up was incredibly different. And I like to think I had an impact on that. But for the most part, a lot of people, I mean, you've got the like Instagram and Facebook influencers that try to infiltrate LinkedIn, and they wash out pretty quickly. But it is now seen as, because you can access every single person. I'm never going to be in the room with the CEO of company XYZ, most likely. But I can message them on LinkedIn.
I'm connected in 2009. I got connected to the then CEO of Saab Automobile. I don't know what he's doing now. I can't remember the guy's name, but yeah, it's just so what's really funny with what you're saying about how it's really no longer just a resume place is there's like a bunch of things that I listen to that are not business oriented and they kind of poo-poo LinkedIn. Whenever they talk about LinkedIn, they're talking about the 6-year-old model of it just being a resume exchange place. And I just, they don't understand what it is like now. Although I am still getting very stupid requests for me, saying, "Hey, we've got this job for you. We've read your resume." No, you haven't. But anyways, all right.
Wow. Okay. So I'm just still deeply thinking about villain origin stories.
I wrote it down. We're going to remember that one, dear.
So, do you think LinkedIn primarily is a tool for big business or small business, and do they use it differently? So I feel like how it's used for individual business owners versus big businesses has to be different. So tell me, how does it work?
So I don't love working with people who are B2C on LinkedIn. I just feel as though that's a very difficult place to exist. But B2B, whether you're a small business or a big business, there are some differences, yes, but essentially it's all the same. It just depends on how much assets you have to execute all these strategies.
I was going to guess that it kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
A little bit.
I mean, yeah. I mean, because if you're a small business and really good on LinkedIn, you can have a bigger impact than a big business who's crap on LinkedIn.
Well, but they're paying $1 million.
Maybe they're not. I said they're crap on LinkedIn. They're not really using it.
Right. So here's the thing. Big businesses have teams of sellers, right? They've got the BDRs and they've got the account managers and they've got the client relations specialist. And so each one of those people has the opportunity to influence buyers. Now, with a small business like myself, because it is me, right? My face is the brand. I am the brand. You are purchasing my knowledge. And so building that relationship with me is very important. And so I can access CEOs, I can access small business owners, and it all comes down to the relationship with me. Larger companies who are also selling to much larger companies don't really have that because there's never a single person that's the point of contact all the way through the sale and delivery. So one strategy that I saw from a team that I trained, they're based in Boston, but they've also got London offices, is that they had their BDRs, so their low at kind of tier business development reps. They were selling a software that helped with cybersecurity during the coding process. So they were building relationships with the software engineers who would be the ones using the product. They weren't the decision makers for purchasing the product, but they were the end user. So they were building this relationship like, oh, hey, you should come to this like live demo that we're doing. Oh, let's build this relationship. So they were at the bottom. They simultaneously targeted the decision makers at the top, the C-suite executives at this same company who had all the decision-making power, because they've got all these people who are building relationships with their prospects. They're going to the bottom and to the top. Because when the CEO or the chief technology officer is like, oh, we're thinking about this product, all of the people who would be using it are like, yeah, we want that. Yeah, do that. And they were able to have this dual access influence. I thought it was genius. Genius. So as a small business owner, you do not have time to host webinars and do relationship building with dozens or hundreds of end users. And so you have to start at the top. What I like to tell people is put together a list of the, top 20 companies that you want to do business with next quarter. Then for each company, figure out 5 people who are involved in the decision-making process for purchasing your product or service. Those are the relationships that you should foster. And so that's the difference, is that it has to be more targeted and less of the scattershot when you're a small business versus a big business.
Interesting. I'm going to take that in because I feel like it kind of ties to my feeling that when I see stuff on LinkedIn from big businesses, it's always this very glossy, very highly produced stuff that ultimately I find really boring. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's like the promotional material that they might have handed me in a meeting, versus when I see smaller groups of people, it's more the kind of interesting, crunchy stuff about people, all the interesting little bits. So it seems to me like there's a real big difference between how big business uses it versus little business uses it. But the question kind of is, I'm in a certain algorithm, so my view of LinkedIn might be kind of biased to who I am. So,
sure.
So, well, but I always think that individual content is the most amazing part. Mm-hmm. And the larger an organization is, the more it wants to control its image and keep its people from doing that kind of content. That's my feeling.
And I think that because you guys work in financial services, that's so I have 3 channels of business, right? I work with people in finance, people in tech, people in legal. Legal and finance have so many rules about who can post, what they can say, what they can't say, who's going to say it, all these things. Tech is the Wild Wild West. It is so fun.
I think we're more on the tech side of stuff. It's really taking stuff through our compliance department to post.
It's the Wild Wild West. It's so fun.
So the West is fun, but how do you manage the other 2 that are less fun? Because
how do you manage the boring people?
How do you manage the boring people?
So when I consult with financial institutions, I always tell them that, and I'll go in and talk to their marketing team and be like, you're doing everything wrong. Sorry. Because when you make a post on a corporate page, on a company page, it goes to 2% of the followers of the company page, and there's nothing you can do to increase that except for pay for ads. So this is what I tell them. I said, okay, you're going to create like a social team. You're going to pick 3 or 4 high-level executives who are down to be kind of your guinea pigs and be a little bit more visible on LinkedIn. You're going to write content for them. You're going to pass it through your own compliance, but you also have to pass it through my compliance. And here's what my compliance looks like. You have to expressly say who this post is speaking to. If you don't know who you're talking to, your message is confused. Who are you talking to? What are you telling them? And why should they give a shit? Because if you can't answer those 3 questions in the post itself, no one will find it valuable.
Yeah.
We've talked about the 3 laws of Catherine. This might be the 3
laws of Leah.
So
I have so many. If you go to my website, you can download my LinkedIn best practice guide for free.
Oh, okay. All right.
Okay.
And I think we're kind of like at the top of the hour, and I'm thinking because we're hopefully hiring, we will hopefully have 2 new salespeople starting in the next few weeks. One of them brand new, and one of them seasoned. And the brand new one is,
Montreal Spice.
Yeah. What?
Oh
God. Okay, sorry. And then so one of them is definitely going to watch this a couple of times and then set up some time and do a little practicing, and then we talked about this before, so
get a consult.
Oh yeah,
it's
free. All right.
Well, as usual, this is very entertaining, and I very much appreciate talking to you, Leah, and I feel like I've come to my own podcast and learned something.
Oh yeah.
That's one of the best things to do in a podcast, right?
I mean, and it's because I don't know, so I don't know I don't know how long we heard you talk at Sway last year, and I think you had probably less than an hour at BMC this year, right? And I know you've showed up on at least one Sway virtual meeting since once, and there's still so much to learn and write down, and I'm thinking about, and it's like, holy crap, this is not easy. And I know, like at BMC you showed a whole lot more data, and then it's a tool. The return on investment has to be really good for somebody to use LinkedIn properly. Okay. And one of the things, I think, I can't remember if I told you or Sherry, one of the things that happened to me after I started following your rules, all right, was I started.
Christopher loves rules.
Oh, I
too,
love rules.
so
Come on. Okay. Leah's way of doing work. Okay. So what started to happen after that was more comments on our comments. All right. More engagement, more quality connection requests, not LinkedIn telling me to connect with some rando, but more quality connection requests, but also more crap. Absolute junk in the I actually had one in my DMs that kind of scared me a little. Okay. Seriously, it was just really weird. But
I had one today.
Okay, but it's worth it. It does a couple of simple things, and it gets a lot better a lot quicker. It's not a lot of time.
And that's the thing, is like, this sounds complicated, and I would never expect someone, like, this is my job. I read hundreds of pages of data to do this. I don't expect other people to do that. And that's where, like, the LinkedIn best practice guide comes in. But truly, for the listeners, if you're going to do anything with this information, 3 comments a day, 5 days a week on other people's posts, you will see results.
12 words.
That's it.
At least.
That's it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I super appreciate this.
This is fantastic, Leah. Thank you so much.
This might be like our annual March conversation with Leah.
March Madness with Leah?
Yes.
Ooh, if she's game for it, yeah.
Oh, did you do that on purpose?
What?
Game for it?
Oh, no, that was accidental. Honest. I swear to God, it was accidental.
It's really funny. Yeah, he's funny that way. So.
I know.
Okay, so do you need to do your outro of
I don't,
post like
I don't know. I mean, what do you
next to people's names, sprinkle glitter.
It's really, I mean, if you guys don't want to engage with this podcast or what you've just learned from Leah, I don't know what else we can do for you. All right. And this is definitely not keep the cards and letter coming, but pay attention to what's going on LinkedIn.
Keep the cards and letters going to Leah.
Keep those cards and letters going. Yeah. So what? Yeah. Just keep up the communication. All right.
Just follow me on LinkedIn because I post about it.
And we will, and we will have your LinkedIn link in the comments below and all that other good stuff.
Name, you can go straight to it.
Right.
Yeah,
in there. All right. Yep. And her name is not Crescent Moon. It is Leah. Okay.
It's Leah. It's pronounced Leah too. People get that wrong a lot.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye. Bye.